It's Fireboy DML, but twice as nice. My name is Fairchild, and this is the Apollo album review. We're going to look at this album and give it a score out of 10. Coming up. This is the second studio album from 24-year-old Nigerian singer-songwriter Adedamola Adefolahan, aka Fireboy DML. Signed to Olamide's YBNL Nation, Apollo builds on Fireboy's sound, which he has named Afro-Life. It's a fusion of Afro-pop and pop, and he has cited Jon Bellion, Passenger, and Wande Coal as his key contemporary influences. I first heard him back in 2019 on the song King. Spotify recommended this song to me, and at that time when you listen to Fireboy's first album, it had a very heavy Afro-pop influence. Fast forward to 2020, Apollo, he is definitely taking more of a pop sound while still infusing the Afro-pop influence. I was pleasantly surprised. I wasn't sure what to expect from the album, but definitely we get a better understanding of what Fireboy's vision is for Afro-Life. The first track off the album is Champion. This is a song that has an acoustic guitar and a choir repeating everything Fireboy is saying in the hook. I'm a legend in the making, I'm a champion, champion, champion. I always say this all the time, having a choir in a song, it's a cheat code. It really is. Name one song where a choir is in it and it's terrible. Name one, I dare you. And even with all that being said, this is a great song, because what I like about this is Fireboy still has that Afro-pop sound that he's infusing into the song with the choir. And the choir definitely are giving this song a grand feeling. We have a D-Smoke feature from the Netflix show Rhythm and Flow. What I found interesting that he said, he talks about him having ADHD. And in this song, Fireboy is asserting his greatness. He's letting us know where he has come from, the different challenges that he has faced over the years, to bringing us to where he is currently, a champion. Track number 2 is Spell. Mufasa, Baba Simba, Omuseyin, Aloma Soto. Here Fireboy is talking about having an infatuation with a certain female. He's calling her every day. She doesn't respond. He's texting her every day. His friends say he's in love. He's not quite sure what's going on, and he concludes, she put a spell on me. There's even a music video for this song that embraces themes of witchcraft and sorcery, which I found very interesting, because when you watch a lot of Nollywood movies, that is a common theme in a lot of these movies. It's witchcraft and love, and a wedding at the end. That's actually a pretty good name for a Nollywood movie. Love and witchcraft. I should write that down. But what I love about the song is that Fireboy is not afraid to be very playful with it. I don't know what that means, but if anybody knows what that means, please put that down in the comments. I'm really curious to know what that means. This is a great song. I was getting a lot of Jason Derulo vibes on this one. He even goes into full falsetto at one point. Track number 3 is Li. Now, track number 3, Li definitely sounds like it's an extension of track 2. Because with track 2, Spell, he's talking about being infatuated with this female. With track 3, Li, it sounds like he's going into further detail as to why he's infatuated with this female. She's a belly dancer. I like the Arabian theme in this song. Gives the whole seductive vibe. What I'm not quite sure about is the Delilah part. Someone come save me from Delilah. That's the one part I'm not sure if her name is Delilah, or maybe he's just referencing Delilah from the Bible as a way of just painting a picture in our heads to make us understand just how seductive she is. At one point, we even have an electric guitar, which definitely is a high point on that song. You know, just listening to the song, you definitely start to realize that this is not your average pop album. I'm 3 songs in, and I realize that, all right, this is a different sound. I'm getting a lot more pop than I am getting Afro-pop. But the Afro-pop sound is still there with just a lot more pop. Track number 4 is Tattoo. This one has a music video, actually. A very steamy, hot, very steamy music, very steamy music video. This is a mellow track, and here Fireboy is back on his falsetto groove. You have a steady harmonic rhythm with a strong chord progression, and the hook, darling, I'm falling for you, you falling, well I'm falling too. It definitely sounds like when you're listening to this album, it's a very cohesive project, because when you listen to track number 1, Champion, that is his introductory song, introducing us to who he is, letting us know his greatness. Track number 2, Spell, he's introduced to a female that he is falling for. 3 is him exploring that attraction that he has. And with 4, Tattoo, it's definitely looking at the more intimate side of the relationship. So I'm assuming at this point he's now gotten to know her better, and they're now at a point where they are intimate. Or maybe these are just thoughts that he's having in his mind. I'm not quite sure. The sound of the bongos leads us to track 5, Favorite Song. This is a very Lionel Richie's 80s sounding song, which is very understandable. In a lot of interviews, Fireboy has mentioned that growing up, his parents would play a lot of Celine Dion and Elton John around him. This song is very much in line with that era. Great song. Once again, Fireboy really infuses his Afro-pop influence into this with another catchy hook. I like the touch of the guy who's singing Macarena in baritone in the background in the hook. Fine girl from New York City, I don't mind if you give me just New York City. The song probably has some of the best harmonies on the album. When you listen to it, yeah, it's about a girl who's about to leave for New York City, and, Fireboy wants to spend a bit more time with her. My assumption is this is the same girl that's being mentioned throughout the album. I'm guessing, okay? What I do like about this song is Fireboy has this accent that makes the whole concept sound fresh and unique. So even though you have had songs about someone about to leave, when you hear Fireboy's version of this, it sounds very different. It sounds fresh, it sounds unique. A couple of other artists who have that same ability because they have a nice accent that just cuts through the mic. Michael Kiwanuke is another one. He sings soul. He's from Uganda. If you guys have never heard of him, go check him out. He makes great music. Fine girl from New York City, I don't mind if you give me just before you leave for the summertime. Lifestyle, track number 6, another song that gives me summer vibes. It sounds very much in line with New York City. The theme itself, though, does move away from the love topics that we were getting at the beginning. I do enjoy it when Fireboy is on his love vibe. That's where I feel he's at his best. Trying to connect this one with the other ones, with the other 3 songs that we've received on the album, it does feel very much out of place. However, it's still a very catchy song with a catchy hook. Gives me summer vibes for sure. Airplane Mode. Here Fireboy gets vulnerable, and he's talking about how sometimes he doesn't want to address the haters. He just wants to disconnect and go on airplane mode. 24 interlude. It's a really interesting interlude because it sounds very much in line with the whole theme of the love. In this song, it almost sounds like there's a bit of regret happening here. And he's talking to himself, just saying, hey, it's been 24 years and you still haven't learned from your lesson. I really like the bagpipes in the background. It really adds an interesting sound, a very different sound. I do enjoy that throughout the whole album. You do get electric guitar, you get a choir, you get different harmonies. So we get a very good variety of sounds throughout the album that makes each song sound very distinct on its own. Track number 9, Dreamer, definitely my favorite track off the album. You have a great production, acoustic guitars, violins. We have a flute playing throughout. It reminds me a lot of that the Celine Dion My Heart Will Go On song, if you remember it from the theme song to the Titanic. And Fireboy has mentioned in interviews that he grew up listening. His parents would play a lot of Celine Dion around him. So it's very understandable that we would get this sound. What I do enjoy about the song is the final part in the hook. He transitions and you have a choir that comes in. Am I Only a dreamer, dreamer am I. And I say this all the time to you guys. Having a choir is a cheat code. You can't lose. You cannot lose having a choir, and this is another great example as to why. Definitely my favorite song off the album. Track number 8, Afar. You have a hopping beat, and this song talks about the haters and, having to love them from afar. We have an Olamide feature where Olamide raps. What I will say about this album is I think Fireboy definitely understands how to make a good song. That's the one thing he's talented at, is he knows how to make a good song. And in a lot of the songs, he is so strong in regards to like the song structure and how it sounds. Once we get the rapping portion of it, it's not a high point. It definitely feels like I could have done without that. And I think the songs would have been fine without any features, honestly. A lot of respect for Olamide and what he's done. He signed Fireboy, so, he was the one who was able to spot this talent. But I think an album without any features would work fine because of how he's able to use great harmonies and pull in different interesting dynamics and different instruments. We have the bagpipes, the electric guitars. Those are kind of the features. And when we have the rapping, it's not as strong. What can I do to make it go away? I don't like this feeling. Very catchy harmony on this one. Here, Fireboy, Go Away. It's a heartbreak song. He's talking about heartbreak that he's having. Very much in line with all the love that we're having, we're assuming. My assumption is this is the same female that he's had interaction with, and now he's feeling heartbreak. Maybe she's gone to New York. I don't know what's going on, but definitely the way he's sounding mellow in his voice. It almost gives you the picture that he's sitting in the corner with a hoodie on, just sitting in the dark and just wallowing in his feelings. Yeah, 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 yeah. He's going through heartbreak here. I'm guessing it's Delilah. Sade is a track about a female named Sade, and here Fireboy is talking about how she makes him feel. I don't know if Sade, this is a new female, or maybe her name was Sade throughout the whole album, and Sade was a Delilah. Friday Feeling, once again, another upbeat dance song. Is a Friday feeling. Very catchy hook. I think, though, in regards to the album being cohesive, if that was the intent, he could have ended the album at Dreamer, because when you listen to, aside from Champion, when you listen to all the songs after Champion until you get to Dreamer, they sound like they're telling a story. Once we pass Dreamer, we definitely start to go all over the place in regards to themes. He definitely bounces between 3 topics after Dreamer: the braggadocious, love, and just the general party. So this is another party anthem. God only knows if I'll ever see you again. If Fireboy was going for a cohesive project on Apollo, I definitely feel like this song being placed before Dreamer would have made for an amazing album. If we finish it at Dreamer, we started at Spell, and we placed this one before Dreamer, and you could honestly take the 24 interlude and put it anywhere. I think that would have made for an amazing album. Either way, here Fireboy is talking about the same female, wondering if he'll ever see her again. Track number 13, The Sound, another party track. Here Fireboy is talking about music and how it makes him feel. And finally, we have Remember Me. It's a good song, still kind of sounds like it's conveying the same sentiments as God Only Knows. And overall, Fireboy has this amazing ability to create music that is really catchy. Coming into this album, I didn't know what Afro-Life was all about. But listening to this album, I get a better understanding. And I'm here for this. I'm definitely here for this. Every song actually sounded different on its own. And every song probably could have stood as a single on its own. I thought that was great. In regards to it being a cohesive project, it really wasn't. towards the end. It did tell a story at the beginning, but when we get towards the end, the topics start to be all over the place, and sometimes he started repeating things that we had already covered in regards to topics. He's 24 years of age, so I gotta give it to him that even with that, we were still able to get songs that are very different in sound. I would just like, as he continues to grow with his audience, I would like for him to continue to explore more topics. Overall, I give this album an 8 out of 10. These are my thoughts. What are your thoughts on Afro-Life? What is Afro-Life to you? Remember to like and subscribe, and let's continue the discussion in the comments.